quarter of a mile south of Llanbedr. Park my car here in this car park. Here's interesting. This is the Artro. The river's been up now for quite some time. Okay, I'll leave the car park here. Part of the Wales Coast coastal path. Walk towards Shell Island. Now, here's a nice little avoid the road. This little tarmacked cycle path. Car park is a couple of 100 yards or so back there. Llanbedr railway station. There's that house probably served as the station, level crossing attendant back in the good old days before the automatic crossings. So this Llanbedr railway station here, it serves as a station stop not just for Llanbedr but also for Shell Island. But it is a good long walk. It is a good long walk down to Shell Island. Close to 2 miles. You can see there's the coastal train going. Runs every 2 hours in the week, during the week. Behind is Mulford. And the rain's holding off so far. There's one of the tide dumps which you see quite often on farmland. It's a nice little woodland, stretch a little bit of woodland here. Now I'll go down this straight and turn the corner. Cattle peacefully munching on hay, the winter feed. Roadside flooding. We've had quite a bit of rain the last couple of weeks. The wind picked up again, so you may not be able to hear me, but this is the entrance to Llanbedr airfield. There are some businesses there that have opened up. National Air Cadet Training Centre, Llanbedr. Trainees there, cadets. Rarely seen. There's a climbing wall at the back. Now all these buildings on the left, this was a military airfield up until a few years ago, and in the Second World War it was quite a busy place. Now go along here for over half a mile and then turn off the Llanbedr road and go along the estuary. There's another entrance to the airfield. There's quite a few of these buildings still in place, and some big hangars back there. The cavalry bombers used to be based here at one time. This airfield, Llanbedr airfield, was a possible location for a spaceport, one of Richard Branson's spaceports, but when the space plane crashed not long ago, I think all those plans have been put on hold. These kind of various buildings in state of ruin were probably part of several more defences. This lane I just come along is part of the Wales Coast Walk, and it goes down there. That's a tarmac footpath that's handy for cyclists. There's the sign. There's the Artro Estuary, Pentarm Harbour. So I'm going to go down there and go along the side of the estuary. The tide is out, so of course the causeway, which sometimes gets flooded, is open to Shell Island. But Shell Island is actually closed for the winter, so it goes down there. You can see just in the distance the Shell Island buildings. They do have some traffic there. There's some winter maintenance, and also lots of boats are stored in Shell Island. So boat owners will occasionally go and inspect their boats or do work on their boats. Okay, so we go along here now, follow the estuary and then eventually the Avon Artro. There are gale force winds or gale force gusts forecast this afternoon, but there might be an audio problem. But here's the roadside track that not the roadside, the track that runs along the side of these defensive walls. When you've got a combination of high tides and strong winds, there's a danger of flooding, coastal flooding. But the other side is the Pentarm Yacht Club. Of course, there's very little activity this time of year. See the hangars in the distance from the airfield. I'm walking along the top of the seawall here. It's roughly about 10 feet high. All that area there was badly flooded, I think about 3 years ago, and this dike burst, and extensive flooding. All the sheep you see dotted in the field there, they all ended up in a watery grave. This is where Pentarm Harbour and the estuary start to narrow, and eventually comes the Avon Artro, and there are quite a few boats moored along here. It's fairly safe anchorage. There's the boats moored along this narrowing estuary. And across the way there is the Pentarm Canoe Club, or Canoe Centre. It's fairly popular. You quite often see school parties there, canoeing or kayaking, under the direction of instructors. It doesn't look as though there's anyone there today. Okay. This part of the seawall, this part here, was breached for about 50 yards, I think it was 3 winters ago, and of course the seawaters just poured through and flooded the whole coast along here for 2 or 3 miles. Down there, right, you can still see the swath grass that was cleared rough, where the seawater poured through. So this is all new along here, all reconstructed. Because of the wind blowing again. Bridge going across the Artro, carrying the railway. That little construction there, circular, is an actual pump that, when it was flooded, over the fields were flooded, that was used to pump the water back into the river. It's quite a powerful pump. And here's where I cross the railway. There's a right of way. There's the bridge, the old wooden structure. Still obviously in good repair, otherwise it would have been replaced. Looking along the railway tracks. Okay, and the right of way, or the footpath, now follows the river roughly for something over half a mile. Back to the car. There's the railway bridge, and just ahead here, crossing the river, is a footbridge, quite an elaborate metal iron footbridge. This river here at this point is mainly fresh water, because there's a lot of water running in the Artro after all the rain we've had, but it is a tidal river at this point. Yards back. There's the Artro, and the first rapids are just there, just minor rapids. Across the other side is the Llanbedr village. Okay, this is where the tidal river turns into the actual Artro itself, and I say there's quite a bit of water in it. So these rapids are, well, I think that would be a nice little exercise for people that like running rapids. And of course it's only, it's not that extensive. Of course, to fall in there would be struggling a bit, but that's the end of this walk. My car is parked just there by those trees.